Cool. What's good, people? Welcome back to another episode of RNS. I'm here with the man himself, KWEKU'S. Kweki, what are you telling me, bro?
Not much, man. Sun's out, guns out.
Guns out. Where's your sunglasses, mate?
Bro, like, it's annoying me. I left my sunglasses in an Uber. Like, I lose sunglasses for fun. Like,
You do? I remember you saying, didn't you lose them in Ivory Coast or Germany?
I lost two in Ivory Coast. I lost 2 pairs of Ray-Bans in Ivory Coast. In my life, I probably lost 4, 5 Ray-Bans. It's insane.
Do you know what's so crazy? I remember you saying this.
Yeah.
I think it was in Germany.
Yeah, in Germany, I lost my.
Yeah. Because I remember you saying that you lose sunglasses and you said that you lost like 2 pairs of Ray-Bans, which I thought was insane.
Bro.
But then now that you just lost them, it's
insane, man. I've spent, about £1,000 on sunglasses.
Hey, sunglasses hot, man. Bust us, bro.
Yeah, man. We're looking for a sponsorship deal.
Yeah, bro. So you can lose them.
Right. I treat it like they're disposable.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's true. I remember you saying you do lose sunglasses all the time.
It annoys me.
That's crazy. All right, well, enough about sunglasses.
Bro, I should have been wearing sunglasses for the Manchester derby because that shit was terrible.
Well, thank God I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
But I heard it was absolutely terrible. But it was Kevin De Bruyne's last Manchester derby, right?
Yeah.
And it was on Friday. He announced himself that he is going to leave Manchester City after 10 years. And he gave us a little exclusive from his own self, not from Fabrizio. But I kind of liked it. It reminded me of the tweet of some random nigga time ago where he was like, "R.I.P. Auntie, the evil in this world that you've done is enough." And that's exactly what I felt with KDB. I was like, thank God this nigga's leaving, bro. Because for me, as a United fan, I can admit this, and some people don't want to admit this, and this is probably what we're going to discuss further on, but I don't see a midfielder better than him in Premier League history. I don't.
What makes him so good?
Do you know what it is? It's like the output.
Yeah.
He has the accolades, he has the trophies. The big, against the top 6, he crashed it on everyone in the top 6. He was Manchester City's best player, even with like David Silva and Kevin De Bruyne. Like, it was when you felt like Kevin De Bruyne wasn't on the pitch, you felt like you had a chance. Even if you never had a chance against Manchester City, if Kevin De Bruyne wasn't playing, that's like, oh, we might have a chance. I remember every time Kevin De Bruyne came off the pitch at a Manchester derby, I'd be like, okay, cool, now we have a chance to do something in the midfield. And you only get that with certain players. And now I'm just looking at it as a footballer because, bro, there was a comp of his weak foot. I remember seeing a comp of his left-footed goals, and I was seeing some ridiculous stuff. And I think something that was underrated as well, his dribbling ability, the way he used to just dribble past people. He didn't do it often, but he used to glide on the pitch, and you wouldn't call him someone like a midfielder that would glide on the pitch. And there's so many things I could say about him, but honestly, like, I'm thinking about it right now, I don't see many midfielders above him in Premier League history. And I know nostalgia is a hell of a drug, and we can talk about it, and we can talk about what midfielders you'll put, but I think if we're just putting pure footballing ability, bro, I don't know if there's many that are better than him.
See, it's hard to disagree with any of that. I think with KDB, he was just, without question, for about 7 or 8 years, the best centre midfielder in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And he collected his chips along the way. He got six titles. This year, we can clearly see that it's the right year to move on. Last season, we saw his impact. Came back from injury and helped Man City win the league. That Newcastle game was crazy. Like, he was moving mad. He was moving like a franchise player. And that's what I think City have lost. They lost a franchise player. For Kevin De Bruyne, despite the fact that Haaland's come in and scored all those goals, despite the fact that Phil Foden's an amazing player, Kevin De Bruyne was the face of the franchise. It felt like he was the soul of Man City. So to see where they go forward past Kevin De Bruyne, that would be very, very interesting. He was the only player in the City squad that predated Pep. So now, next season will be a fully Pep side. And for me, when you're ranking all-time Premier League centre midfielders, Kevin De Bruyne has to be in there, in the conversation. But when you're doing all-time Premier League 11s, centre midfield is the most competitive position. I feel like the back four is the back four, apart from maybe 1 or 2 variations. Everyone has Ashley Cole left back. Most people have Rio and JT, and then right back is either Kyle Walker or Gary Neville, whatever you like. Centre mid is like any combination we can run. You can have a midfield of Keane, Vieira, and Scholes, or you can have a midfield of Lampard, Gerrard, KDB. Like, it can be whatever you like. But I feel like those are the 6 that, when you're talking about the greatest centre midfielders of all time in the Premier League, those names come to mind. KDB, Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, Paul Scholes, Roy Keane and Patrick Vieira. And then there's other players who've had peaks. Like Yaya Toure's peak is probably higher than any of those players, but wasn't there for long enough.
Kevin De Bruyne's peak?
Yeah, Yaya Toure 13-14 was
The 20 goals and 12 of them were set pieces.
Yeah, but you say set piece was some of them were free kicks that were crazy.
Granted.
And
dead ball situation.
And City won the league.
Dead ball situation.
But also, this was a City team that was more human. This was a City team under Manuel Pellegrini. It wasn't a City team under Pep Guardiola where there's just so many. This was Yaya Toure.
You've got to remember that City team under Pellegrini still won the title.
They still won the title.
Under Mancini still won the title. Like
they
Man
did.
City were winning without Pep Guardiola.
Yeah.
They won more with, but they were winning without.
They're winning without, but it was more human. They were more gettable. They were in a title race with a Liverpool team that had John Flanagan starting left back. They were more human. It was a proper country.
Every time we're just dissing John Flanagan, bro, I hear it though. Because what the hell was he doing?
Bro, it was Luis Suarez and a bag of chips.
Yeah, what the hell was a polar bear in Arlington, Texas? Bro.
Exactly, man. But so I think those players have had higher peaks, in my opinion. But for KDB, you've got the longevity, you've got the titles. The one knock against his name, and I was talking to Roy Jennings at TalkSport about it, is that he's got high leverage moments in the Champions League. I remember him going to the Bernabeu as a false nine and crashing it on Real Madrid. He's crashed it on Real Madrid in multiple occasions for Man City. But in the Champions League finals that he has played,
that's the only detriment in his career.
He's gone off both the finals early.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with his Premier League career.
Yeah, it doesn't, but you include those things as well. Because if Steven Gerrard doesn't have a Champions League, you don't put him in all-time Premier League 11.
Well, really and truly, he should have, because he's never won the Premier League.
So you say that we talk to all ex-pros, they tell us that he was the greatest to ever do it.
And listen, there's 2 games that saved that nigga's career.
Yeah.
And none of them have to do with the Premier League. So, like, if we're keeping it a buck, he shouldn't be there.
But
and I guarantee you,
we
can't deny Steven Gerrard. I'm not denying Steven Gerrard, but to put him in, like, when we actually just put all the accolades together, because I'm sorry, I find it scary to put KDB in an all-time 11, especially with the centre mid. Centre mid, as you said, it's the most competitive position that has been in the all-time Premier League 11s. But KDB, he has to be in.
I agree.
Because not only, like, the thing is with, like, your Henry's, for example, we can say Henry's peak was the highest peak, whether you want to, blah, 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 blah. But the thing about Henry is like, but only 2 Premier League titles. You can use that against him. Premier League-wise, there is nothing you can use against Kevin De Bruyne. There's nothing. There's nothing.
Injuries.
Even his injuries, he still won 6 Premier League titles, bro. He didn't play for Manchester United and he won 6 Premier League titles. Like, the people that have above 3 are normally United players, if that. Like, he has double that. He's been he was the best player at City for how long? He was the best midfielder in City for how long? He used to crash it on all. It's not like, he didn't play well against the Big Six. He crashed it on every single team in the Big Six. Like, I'm just keeping it a buck. We are all happy he's going. We are all happy he's going because it makes our lives easier. Like, when Gerrard retired...
Not this version of KDB.
No, of course not. But the same way, like, when Gerrard retired, man, Gerrard went out losing 6-1 to Stoke. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, when Gerrard retired, it wasn't like, finally Gerrard's gone. We're like, yeah, it's about time. When Lampard retired, I forgot Lampard played for Man City.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When
though.
all these people, like, even though this is the first season where we feel like, you know what, it's time for KDB to go. This is the first season out of 10.
Okay, but this season's been very poor for him.
It's been very poor for Manchester City.
Yeah, but okay,
you can't just put it on Kevin De Bruyne.
But this still counts on your resume. Like, this season's
one season out of 10, and it's your last season.
Last season, he only played 18 league games. Granted, when he came back, he helped them win the league.
Yeah, but
missed a lot of time last season.
His hamstring fell off the bone at the start of the season.
Yeah, man. But like KDB, again, I'm not disagreeing with you. KDB does go into my all-time Premier League 11, but I don't think his resume is as infallible as we like to make out.
It's way more infallible than the other niggas we're comparing him to.
Well, if I'm having this conversation with somebody else, it's not. But your opinion on Roy Keane's your opinion on Roy Keane.
You right now cannot tell me Roy Keane's a better footballer than Kevin De Bruyne. You cannot.
Okay, but we're not doing better footballers, because I think that Yaya Toure is a better footballer than Frank Lampard, but he's not a great Premier League midfielder. And he's won the same amount with if not more titles than Frank Lampard. But he's not a great Premier League midfielder.
So you think Roy Keane's who's got more titles? I think Kevin De Bruyne has more titles than Roy Keane.
I think Roy Keane's got more titles. Roy Keane captained United to 5, and I think he won like 7.
I think he's got 6 or 7.
Let's have a look.
6 or 7.
I think Roy Keane's got 7. I'll have a quick look.
KDB's got 6, right?
KDB's got 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's got 7.
He's got 7.
And he was captain for 5 of them.
For 5. What? So KDB, how many was he captain for? How many?
Like 1.
Who was the captain before?
Gundogan. Gundogan's captain when they won the treble.
Yeah, true.
Do you know
So
what?
what? So for bloody wearing an armband?
No, I'm just saying that, and I get it because you got a certain, not even perception. You're a United fan, so it's your viewpoint on watching Man United. You saw what you saw, but from what I remember and from what I feared as a Chelsea fan, I was like, that Roy Keane was a serious player.
You feared Roy Keane,
bro. I just knew that he was going to make sure that you man did your job. That's what I feared. Like, in terms of a standard setter.
Yeah, but that's not to do with football, though.
Yeah, bro, it is.
What you're fearing is not to do with football because, like, lest we forget, we broke the transfer record to replace Roy Keane.
No, but leadership, yeah, cool, and it flopped.
Yeah, no, it flopped, but we tried to do that.
Yeah.
You don't. See, you weren't going to break the transfer record to replace KDB.
It took post Roy Keane. It took the greatest player that we've ever seen in the Premier League to kind of bring you back, right? When Roy Keane left, you guys went through a dry spell and there was not standards. You man were calling for Alex Ferguson's head when Roy Keane left.
Yeah, but that's not just down to Roy Keane.
I'm not saying it's down to Roy Keane, but that you can't deny that has a huge effect on it, right? Arguably the greatest leader. The reason I'm saying it is that I put a lot of stock in what John Terry did at Chelsea. Being a leader is huge. In football, we don't have that. In football, we don't have standard setters. Part of the reason why this game is the game right now is that there's not people in the dressing room telling these young niggas, fix up. Roy Keane was telling these young niggas, fix up while winning, while carrying out the instructions of the greatest manager of all time. And he was part of, barring this Man City team, the greatest dynasty the Premier League's ever seen. And he was the captain of that and has got 7 Premier League titles to show for it. So I feel like it's kind of, not even disrespectful, but I want to put respect on what Roy Keane done as well.
No, I'm not disrespecting Roy Keane. And obviously Roy Keane was one of United's greatest captains.
Man United's greatest captain. Name me a great captain of Roy Keane at Man United. There ain't one. Come on.
No, like in the modern era, there isn't one. But
then, modern old anything.
No, but like I'm talking about other captains, like, you know, like
come on.
No, but people could say Robbo or all their man and stuff like that.
Robbo didn't win a chip. Roy Keane won 7 and captain 5
No, but
of
like
them.
that nigga was called Captain Fantastic.
Yeah,
you know
because
what I mean,
you man were in the doldrums. That Robbo was basically the equivalent of Gerrard, but Gerrard's just got the Champions League. Robbo was carrying you in your like.
No, but people say Cantona was
Cantona was great. Cantona was
like,
amazing.
listen, I'm not saying they're better captains,
captain.
but like, cool, okay, regardless. But I'm still not having Roy Keane as a footballer over Kevin De Bruyne.
No, as a footballer, I'm not. But then the thing is, if you put me on a lie detector test, is Frank Lampard a better footballer than Yaya Toure? I can't sit here and tell you that. I can't sit here and tell you that.
So what? If Gundogan just gave the captain's armband to Kevin De Bruyne, that would have changed your perception?
No, but like Gundogan wasn't the standard setter either. That team is Pep Guardiola's team, right? And the same way Man United was Alex Ferguson's team. But you had this general on the pitch that was making sure that standards are hit. Bro, he said... I have a lot of respect for Roy Keane, basically, but I do agree with you. Kevin De Bruyne is a better footballer, and ultimately, I will put Kevin De Bruyne above Roy Keane. I just want to bring Roy Keane into the conversation because I think a lot of people just think about him as a hard man that couldn't play football, and I think that's far from the case.
He could.
I think that's far from the case.
He could, but
because really and truly, people are putting, and again, I get it because Gerrard was a better player than Roy Keane, but we're comparing a player that's got 7 Premier League titles and captain of 5 of them to somebody who has none. Yeah. It's tough for me to do, bro.
Do you know what it is?
It's tough for me to do. Do you know what it is with
the Man United midfielders? It's that Man United midfielders during the time when they were playing with these other midfielders weren't seen, because I think like Gerrard and Lampard were probably better than the midfielders we had. Yeah. But it's the Scholes situation. Because if I go ask people right now, when was Paul Scholes' prime, every single person's opinion will be different. For me, it could be late 90s where Scholes was scoring goals, scoring a lot of goals, and that's about it. But then other people's prime will be like when he was like 36 and when he came back from retirement and was blind in one eye and was just dictating tempo.
Buying boots from Sports Direct and crashing
it on us. Like, so this is the thing, like Man United midfielders didn't have the respect they had during their playing days. It was when Man United got rubbish and we look back and we feel like, like when Roy Keane left, and we're like, we don't have the standards anymore. When Scholes left, we're like, it's 10 years and we haven't replaced Scholes.
Yeah, true. A lot of the Man United thing is hindsight.
It's hindsight,
Because they ruined a lot of people's childhoods, you didn't want to give it to them and you gave the credit to Alex Ferguson. But when you look back on it now, you're like, actually, Scholes. Bro, I told you, I went and watched back the League Cup final, you against Spurs, the 0-0, and just watch the 90 minutes, or watch the 120 minutes, because it went to extra time and penalties, and just watch Paul Scholes.
Yeah, it was
my God, like... a hooper. But at the time, bro, this is what I'd like to say. Nobody was talking about Scholes when we were having the Gerrard and Lampard conversation.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
We weren't.
Bro,
We
do you know
weren't.
what's
We
so
weren't.
funny? And I was actually thinking about this the other day. Do you remember back in school, and I'm a Man United fan, the debate was never Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes.
No.
It was never that.
Bro,
It was Gerrard,
be
Lampard.
honest.
Let's be honest. Like, let's actually be honest for a second. And this is no disrespect to Paul Scholes, but the conversation was Gerrard, Lampard. And then when Scholes went out in retirement, came back, stuck a Premier League on our head tops, and we went, it should have been, actually, it's Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes. And then Xavi came out with a quote, and then Pep came out with a quote, and then Pirlo came out, and then we're like, man, it should have been. Like, but when during the playing days,
Bro,
it was never Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes.
During the play, I wish we could go back through the archives and present what people were saying. It was never
Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes.
They were shifting Scholes onto the right, onto left,
Onto the left, and no one cared.
No one cared.
And now we look back at it, it's like, maybe we shouldn't have done that.
Yeah,
Which,
man.
we were right, but that was never the debate. And I think that's the thing with United footballers, is that
hindsight,
and
bro.
it's the hindsight thing. But that's why I put with Kevin De Bruyne, because Kevin De Bruyne is not going to be a hindsight thing. I think history's going to look really good back on Kevin De Bruyne, and during Kevin De Bruyne's prime, he was the best, and we appreciate him.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So go on, give me your first of all, give me your three in midfield if you're doing an all-time 11.
I can't put Gerrard, even though Gerrard's probably one of the best footballers in there. I can't put him in there. He hasn't won a Prem, so I can't put him in there. KDB has to be in there. I'll put Keane in there because of what you said. You need a leader, and I'll put Scholes. Like, I'll just play Keane 6 if we're really doing like, bro. It was you go, I go, man. Back in my day,
yeah, exactly.
It was you
bro.
go, I go.
4-4-2, we work it out together.
We work it out together. We do our top bottom in the national anthem.
See, I go KDB has to go in there. I go Vieira for me. Like, he was just a hooper. And
Yeah, no, it was.
KDB, Vieira, and I will put. It's either Roy Keane or Frank Lampard. Fuck it, Frank Lampard. Give me the goals.
Yeah,
Give me
there
the
you go.
goals.
I was gonna say it'll be crazy if you don't put Frank Lampard. You still
give me
think
the
Frank
goals.
Lampard was better than Steven Gerrard?
Who, me?
Yeah. You don't, but like you
Yeah,
have to write it out. Yeah, like, you have to.
Yeah,
Bro.
yeah.
The same way I was writing out Van Nistelrooy versus Henry. You had to.
I have
You
to.
had to.
Okay, cool. So that's our. Okay, if you're doing really quickly before we move on, top 5, put them in order.
Midfielders.
Yeah, Premier League history.
I think if you put in everything, it's crazy. I'm gonna put KDB first, bro.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think he has the accolades. I think he has the ability.
Bro, I agree.
If you add all of it, if you add all of it together, I think it's KDB.
I agree.
First.
I agree.
Then I would put Scholes for ability and accolades as well. Keane or accolades, maybe less on the ability thing in comparison to the other people.
Yeah.
Vieira, I'll put in there. And I feel like I should put Fat Frank in there, but yeah, Fat Frank is crazy. But that's what, it was a slander name.
Yeah, no,
it was
crazy.
a slander name. But listen, I grew up in East London. It was a slander name, man.
My top 5, KDB number 1. I didn't put Roy Keane in my. Did I put Roy Keane in my 3? I did.
No, you put Vieira and Lampard.
Oh no, I didn't. I put Roy Keane. I put KDB number 1. I put Vieira number 2. I put Frank Lampard in my 11, but agenda. But I put Roy Keane number 3. I put Lampard number 4, and I put Scholes number 5. That's my
there you
top
go.
5.
Hey, nothing like nostalgia and hindsight, bro.
Yeah.
Because I wonder what kids, when they see comps of De Bruyne, what he was doing.
And the goals that he was scoring.
Bro,
there's a ball that came to Cole Palmer in the edge of the box against Brentford, and it came across his body onto his right foot, and we all just knew he wasn't going to shoot. Whereas KDB outside the box, it just comes, he's shooting. It doesn't matter.
Left or right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like, congratulations on a great career as well, KDB. Like, to create a legacy as a modern great in an era where we hyper analyze everything and everything that someone does is wrong, like, to create and forge that legacy in this era is super difficult. Like, think about the narrative around Erling Haaland, who's given us numbers. It's like he's dead. He's a
the
League
best
2
Premier
player.
League striker in the world, but he's a League 2 footballer.
Yeah, so for KDB to do that, it means you must be super special. And if KDB was putting up these numbers in the previous era, we'd say that he was the GOAT. It's not even a question, because nostalgia is a hell of a drug. So I agree with you. You mentioned you go, I go. ago. That's a callback to yesteryear, a greater era in football, some may say, where players just figured it out themselves. It wasn't bogged down in the nuances of philosophies, etc. Gary Neville post the Manchester derby said that football's or the Premier League's in a difficult place right now. Players are robotic, basically calling out the fact that they are overcoached and we're not seeing the freedom that we used to see in Premier League football. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. Football changes and that's what happens, and life changes and things adapt. I would say the Premier League, listen, we had this discussion before and I said, is football in the mud? And you were like, at first you were like, no, because our teams are in the mud. But I'm looking at the level of the Premier League this season. I feel like this has been one of the worst it's been in a while. And it's not like a detriment onto the players. It's just the median is a bit lower. And I think I think we're losing the creme de la creme in the Premier League.
We're losing recipes.
Yeah, we are. And right now we're losing star players. Like, there's not really many star players left. And even our star players right now are old. Like, I think when the Premier League was at its best and England was dominating Europe, even kind of still are, but when we were dominating Europe back then, the best players were early 20s, mid 20s.
Bro, like John Terry was 22 or 23, captain in Chelsea to win the Premier League and win the PF. Like, he was young. Like, these days, we're still calling Phil Foden young. He's older than that. Like Saka is older.
He's got 3 kids, bro. What do you mean?
Like, yeah, you're so right. Steven Gerrard, when he won that Champions League of Liverpool as captain, was 23. Yeah. Like, and now we're giving players leeway, saying they're still young. Cole Palmer's older than Steven Gerrard was when he won the Champions League as captain of Liverpool. We are living in the crazy era right now where players are being mollycoddled and babied and saying we need to wait for them to develop. Bro, Steven Gerrard was a youngster doing this. Like, we feel like they were at the end of their career. Bro, he was a baby boy. Yeah. He was a baby boy. And so I agree with Gary Neville, but I feel like we've been saying this, and you especially been saying this for a long time, in terms of the overall level of football has changed as a result of Pep Guardiola. And I do think we have to point the finger at that ball genius. Like, he's done incredible things for football. You go and watch Bromley and you see keepers playing out at the back. Oh yeah, I forgot. You go and watch Haybridge Swifts then. You see keepers playing out at the back, and that's the Pep Guardiola influence in an era where people said you can't come and play that football in the Premier League. He come and done it. But as a result of that, we've got copycats that can't do it as well. Yeah. And I think it's made for more boring football. One of the most exciting teams in the league this year, Nottingham Forest, because they play a different way. They say, we'll give you the ball. We've got wingers who will attack their fullbacks. We've got midfielders who will do the dirty work. Got a big man in the box. Let's get it done. We'll crash it on you.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that's just not going to be sustainable, because next season not.
Yeah, I get it, but it's good to see different way. Like,
it's good to see
different styles of football. And I think that Gary Neville's got a point. Obviously, he's talking about it from a Manchester United point of view, because that derby was poor. But I do feel like creativity is being dragged out of football. And I was saying to you on the phone earlier, for me, there used to be a big five when it came to Premier League players. This was about 2 or 3 years ago. And those big five were Harry Kane. It was Erling Haaland when he joined the league. It was Virgil van Dijk. It was Mo Salah. And it was Kevin De Bruyne. And those were the 5 best players in the league. And you could argue that those 5 players could walk into any team in the world. Yeah. We've lost Harry Kane. He's now playing in Germany, still scoring goals. Mo Salah's old, and we don't know if he's going to be at Liverpool next season. Virgil van Dijk is old. We don't know if he's going to be at Liverpool next season. Erling Haaland is probably the one prime superstar in the league, and Kevin De Bruyne is leaving. So who are the next crop of superstars? And when you ask that question, you look for the answers. You're talking about Bukayo Saka, who's never won the league. You're talking about Cole Palmer, who's had one good season. You're talking about players that haven't proven on the highest of stages or biggest of stages that they can be superstars. And so I think the Premier League's heading into a very, very uncertain era.
No, I totally agree. And as you said, like, what rattled me is that, like, Cole Palmer's like 23. Like, he's what, 23?
23. Let me check.
He's 23, right? And back then, like, 23-year-olds would be winning Ballon d'Ors, or they're captains, or they're like. And it's not saying Cole Palmer can't be, but it's just, I think football's changed. Yeah. And right now, the Premier League's normally supposed to have world-class players. It's the most watched league in the world. It's the most competitive league in the world.
Yes.
But we don't have any, like, standout world-class players in their prime right now.
No.
And do we say this is Mo Salah's prime, even though this is Mo Salah's best season? Like,
yeah.
I don't know why it doesn't feel like his prime. Maybe because he's 32.
Maybe because he's 32.
I think that's what it is. Yeah. So it's a weird one for football.
I was capping. So Cole Palmer's 22, turns 23 next month. And Steven Gerrard was 24 when he won the Champions League.
That's 1 year. That's age mates, bro. Age mates.
Yeah.
Like, it's not. It's not crazy. So what? Cole Palmer has to win a Champions League when he's 24. Do you see that happening?
Nah.
So that's my point. Like, I want to say, the thing is, I feel like with coaching,
yeah,
I don't think they necessarily coach the creativity out of the players, but there's just not much freedom.
Yes,
I think tactically, it's so like, be in this position.
Gerald's 23, by the way, when you won Champions League. Okay.
Hey?
Gerald's 23.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So you got 1 month left, Cole. But there's so much coaching now that like I don't want to say it's more rigid, because I don't think it's not that rigid. You can still have like free flowing wingers and stuff like that and pushing people up. Like the only bit of the derby I watched yesterday, I looked, City were in attack and there was 10 people in our half.
Yeah.
Like City had 3 centre backs and they were all within Man United's half. Like that didn't really used to happen back then, unless you were like a big team chasing a goal with like 10 minutes to go.
Yeah.
That didn't really happen like 15 minutes into a game. So football's changed and like it's territorial and it's stuff and you're thinking like that, but it's not like back in our day. It was I don't want to say it was like basketball, but it was more. It was okay in comparison to day and age, but we didn't see it like basketball.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't about ball retention, right? Because it was like, okay, we're going to hit the ball into channel and then we're going to squeeze.
Yeah.
And then we're going to figure out, I'm going to play percentages. And it just made for a quicker game. But right now, it's all about ball retention. Bro, look at what Pep Guardiola has done to Jack Grealish. Like, he's a prime example of a player that was Aston Villa, that was a throwback to a former player. The reason why we love Jack Grealish is because he's a maverick and he felt like that player, like Roy of the Rovers, put the team on my back. He went to Man City and he's become a robot. He's not the same. The reason why people fell in love with Cole Palmer last year is because he had the freedom to do whatever he wanted. This year he's been coached a little bit more and we're seeing what Cole Palmer looks like. Yeah. And I think the football, and that's why Alex Ferguson was great, right? And that's why you hear it from Roy Keane as well. Roy Keane said, yo, we didn't mind doing the work because Cristiano Ronaldo can score the goals. He didn't have to track back. We'll do the work for him. Eric Cantona the same way. I think those guys understood it. I think Roy Keane said, Fergie was a gambler. So he gambled. Like, if you're that guy, you be that guy and the rest of the team will kind of cover for you because you can produce the magic.
He said it. He said, bro, give 10 pieces of wood and Zidane and I'll win you the Champions League, bro.
Of course, man.
Those pieces of wood weren't going to pass the ball. They were supposed to defend. That's only what the pieces of wood could have done.
When Cantona retired, you seen that letter that Fergie wrote being like, we miss you around the place. Like, he got it, bro. He said
bear in mind, I don't think SMS existed back then. So the nigga had to write a letter.
Bro, he wrote a letter.
That's how you know how much he meant to him, bro.
And Fergie got it, man. The greatest manager of all time got it. Like, football is about coaching, but it's also about the gyms and the Joes more than X's and O's, bro. It's the manalytics versus the analytics. And for me, I think football's missing that. It's missing that, but I will say one thing is that I listened to a podcast and we're talking. It was Adam Lawrence, who is United's youth coach at the moment, under 18s coach, and we were like, so how are you bringing up? He's from Ends, isn't it? But he's like up in Manchester. But also, I was like, how are you bringing up these kids to learn this football, especially Amarin? And like, are you going to teach them how to play 3-4-3? Are they going to like, is it going to be like a whole streamline thing from youth to first team? And he's like, kids nowadays watch football. They have FIFA. And they have FIFA where there's different formations now. And like when we had FIFA, we would change it to a 4-3-3. I might put Hargreaves right back, and his overall would go up a bit. Do you remember when they Like that's the most we tweaked with stuff. But kids have access to Football Manager, Ultimate Team with all these different formations. So they have their own ideas now of how the game should be played. And not only do you have that, you still have to coach them in a way that the game has changed and it's way more tactical. But you still have to like have that freedom. You can't let go of that freedom of just playing around in the park. No.
Or playing around in the cages. So you've got to find a fine line, because Jadon Sancho is a perfect example. I feel like he still plays like he's around in the cages. Well, and you want that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, can that exist in today's football? It doesn't seem like it if I'm looking at Jadon Sancho's performances. So where's the fine line of having that freedom and also being aware of how football's changed tactically? It's such a hard thing.
It's a tough one. I feel like it's gonna need Guardiola to leave. That's what it's gonna need. Like, I feel like when Guardiola leaves, I think we might see a new dawn in football where it seems a bit more human than it is right now. Because, right now I'm struggling with that. Let's move to the association. Hall of Famers, some pending Hall of Famers. Carmelo Anthony, congratulations.
Congrats.
Dwight Howard, congratulations. Well,
We don't have to pause congratulations. Right.
they will be Hall of Famers. I think rightly deserved. One thing about the NBA Hall of Fame that people criticize is that the barrier to entry is quite low. In the NFL, there are so many great players that are not in the Hall of Fame just because there's been so many great players. More players, obviously. But in the NBA, it's like if you've got a bit of a name, you're going in the Hall of Fame. Like Derrick Rose is probably going in the Hall of Fame in the NBA. And in the NFL, there's not a chance he's going in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So like, it is what it is. But those two players, I definitely think deserve it. Firstly, what did you make of them both as players? Firstly, starting with Carmelo Anthony. What do you make of his career and overall kind of legacy as an NBA player?
Unfortunate that he was drafted in 2003 with the greatest nigga alive. So that's hurt. I think Carmelo Anthony's career started from Syracuse. He was a freshman at Syracuse, won the Natty. I've not seen Syracuse win a chip ever since. So he has that legacy for life.
Olympic legacy as well.
Yes, and he has Olympic legacy before KD. He was, I think, the best Olympic player before KD. But unfortunately, because he played at the 3, he was drafted with LeBron, who played at the 3. So he was never going to get first team All NBAs. He played in the era of Kobe. He was a great scorer. Like, he could be a franchise player. You would give him a max deal. But that was it. And I don't want to say that was it, like that's not enough. But in the grand scheme of things, that's it.
Should we go through his accolades? 10-time NBA All-Star, as he expects for someone who's got such a big name. 2-time All-NBA second team. 4-time All-NBA third team. Never made an All-NBA first team, which is probably on your point. He's playing the same era as LeBron James. He's never going to get in there. But that is quite stark. To never make an All-NBA first team. And
he's not making it over LeBron. And then
he's not.
Still, like the forwards in that era, KD came 4 years later. You had Paul Pierce.
There's niggas in the NFL that got all pros over Brady, over Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? Not to make one, it's brazy. Not to make one is brazy.
Yeah, but Melo just...
I know. NBA scoring champion once, 2013. Considering that people call him one of the greatest scorers of all time, I don't think that's enough either. Because not like LeBron James is sticking up, like is putting up points. It's like LeBron James is being LeBron James.
I wouldn't call Melo one of the greatest scorers. I think people call
him one of the greatest.
I think he was a 3-level scorer. He could score at all 3 levels, but one of the greatest scorers of all time. I'm not even putting him in over T-Mac as a scorer. So like,
fair, that's crazy.
No, I'm sorry. How many times was T-Mac a scoring champion?
Let's have a look. Okay, cool. And that's Carmelo Anthony. And
like, T-Mac was averaging 30 at the age of 23, blood. What do you mean?
He was a bad boy, but what do you think in the pantheon of NBA greats, T-Mac is
scoring wise, I'm putting T-Mac over Melo.
2-time scoring champion.
There you go. I'm putting...
You putting him over thing?
As a scorer, yeah. Because like T-Mac played at the 2 and the 3.
Fair.
And so as a scorer, I'm definitely putting T-Mac over Melo. But that's no disrespect to Melo. I think Melo was good in Denver.
He had the streets, innit?
He had the streets. And my brother is the reason my brother is a Denver Nuggets fan is because of Carmelo Anthony. It was the first jersey he bought. And it's just unfortunate and very stupid by Denver, by the way, that his number 15 is just not going to be seen as an iconic number, because guess who's number 15 for the Denver Nuggets? Right?
Yeah, a player's going to go down in top 10 NBA history.
And really and truly, they could have retired Melo's jersey.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think the way that he left was kind of contentious, and then he goes to New York, and I think if we're being honest about it, old heads... My first thought of Melo is Denver Melo, where he's wearing the baby blue jersey. That's what I think. Yeah, braids, headband. But really and truly, these new niggas it's the Knicks Melo. So like, we remember
Portland
that Denver
Melo.
one, but like
Hoodie Melo, the greatest nigga of all time.
Hoodie Melo is the greatest nigga of all time. But if like he goes into Hall of Fame, you have to pick what jersey. I think he's picking New York, because that's where he become the brand. In Denver, he was stuck in Denver. Despite the fact he led them to the playoffs every year that he was there, which was crazy. Led them to their first conference finals, I think, since '85. The New York stint where he got a vote for MVP in 2013 when he shouldn't have. LeBron should have been unanimous. I think that's where he really kind of made his...
Well, he was scoring champion that year, so it makes sense.
Yeah, he was. Dwight Howard, splits opinion.
And I don't know why, because I feel like...
We know why. We don't have to talk about it, but we know why.
Yeah, okay, I guess so. But in regards to Dwight Howard... Yeah, why you laughing?
Got anything to say?
Yeah. wife.
Don't get cancelled.
Do you know what I mean? Can't get cancelled yet. But yeah, listen, Dwight Howard. I feel like one thing I can say about Dwight Howard is that I saw his impact in Orlando as a kid. Like go to Orlando a lot, and I saw him become Orlando's franchise player. I saw him on everywhere in the billboards during his stint at Orlando. I think underrated defensively. I think making Orlando reach a finals was something that is underrated because that was their first final since what, 92?
Yeah,
with Shaq and Penny. So
95.
that was
95.
Was it the finals in 95?
Yeah, because they got to the finals when MJ was out of the league because they knocked MJ out of the first.
So it was
95.
Yeah, 94, 95.
Yeah.
All right, well, regardless, like Dwight Howard's definitely up there. I'd put him and he's fun. And when he won a chip with the Lakers, it was, you know what, he deserves a chip for what he's done for the NBA.
100%. 100%.
Like it was one of them people like where, you know how Tom Brady would just be like, come nigga, get a ring, like AB for example.
Yeah.
Like AB was so good before the CTE, like he deserves a ring. And that was the same thing with Dwight Howard. So yeah, Dwight Howard definitely. Melo's the only questionable one. And I don't want to make Melo questionable because but I just think in the pantheon of great,
you had to be there because I think it'd be real crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious when these kids look back on it and be like, what, so he never made the first team All NBA? He never won a chip. He never made the finals. Yeah, never made the finals. Why is this guy in the Hall of Fame? We just had to be there. We compared it to Arsenal version of Alexis Sanchez, where it's like, in the history of the Premier League, he probably doesn't even go down as a top 30 or 40 player. But like when he was there, you recognise
that hat trick against West Ham. Yeah.
I was there. If you go through Dwight Howard's his honours and the career highlights, NBA champion in the bubble, 8-time NBA All-Star, so 2 less than Melo. 5-time All-NBA first team.
There you go. Because there was times where he was the best center in the league.
Yeah, bro, he was the best big man in the league for a long time. I think what killed him, and Skip Bayless again killed him when he said he looks like Tarzan but he plays like Jane. And when I heard that, I said,
totally forgot about that. Skip Bayless.
Skip, you're out of pocket for that. But I hear it. But I hear it, and we all heard it because how dominant Dwight Howard was, how good of a big man he was, how stout he was on the defensive end. We wanted a bit more, and it seemed like
we wanted to see Shaq.
He didn't have the heart. He didn't have the heart.
He was he had the talent. I don't want to say the talent level of Shaq, but for that generation in Orlando. Yeah, it's so easy to make the comparison.
Bro, he was Superman, won the dunk contest. Like he was athletic, he had it all, but there was just something missing from Dwight Howard. And despite the fact that he led his team to the finals as the best player and he won 3 Defensive Player of the Years in a row, he just never quite became what I think we thought he could become. And obviously he went to Houston, had some success with James Harden, bounced around a little bit and eventually found a home at the Lakers and won a chip. So you got to give him his credit. In terms of accolades, if you're going through it, he's got more accolades than Carmelo. He's a 5-time rebound leader, 2 times block leader. Like I mentioned, 3 times the NBA Defensive Player of the Year. Like he's got the accolades, and he deserves to go in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
he was an NBA top 75 player of all time, or was he not? I don't think he made it.
No, he didn't make it,
which is crazy. Which is crazy.
I feel like he should have made it.
Yeah, he should have.
But I feel like.
Quick question. Yeah, we know why. Quick question: whose career would you rather have, Melo's or Dwight Howard's? And who would you rather be?
I would rather have Dwight's career.
Yeah.
But I'd rather be Melo.
Same.
I think Melo had the streets.
Yeah, same.
And Melo, if you were there, like it's my generation and a bit younger than us that are going to be telling people about Carmelo. I mean, like you young kids didn't know about Melo.
Yeah.
It's like the same way. I'm not sure we're going to be doing that for Alexis Sanchez, but you just
you had to be there.
You just had to be there. It's one of them. It's like Drogba. I don't want to compare him to Drogba because Drogba had the accolades
and he won.
And he won stuff, but. The stats ain't gonna look great if you go look back at Drogba, but you just had to be.
Yeah, you had to be.
For Melo, you just had to be there. Like any given night, like he could just randomly give you 60 and you're like, yeah, that's Carmelo Anthony.
That's Carmelo Anthony. And for that, he deserves the respect. And I think post-career, we're going to see a lot more of Melo than we see of Dwight Howard, just because Melo is just that guy. Do you know what I mean? The cool guy. Like you would want to be more like Melo than you want to be Dwight Howard. And that's just unfortunate for many reasons.
Dwight Howard ever the franchise player for his team?
Yeah, Orlando.
But was that not Vince Carter?
No, Orlando. Vince Carter was not Orlando.
Well, I'm bugging.
Yeah. 2009, 2010 was Dwight Howard in Orlando.
Yeah, he was franchise player. Yeah, so congratulations to those guys for going into the Hall of Fame. Let's quickly do the NFL. A great. This seems like a week where we're celebrating greats, but Julio Jones, for a long time considered top 3 receiver in the league. There was a point where he was the best receiver in the league, in my opinion.
When? Because I was going to ask you this.
You know what? There was a big 3. So it was.
And I'll take your pick, but I don't think
it was OBJ. It was Julio. There was a big 3 of OBJ, Julio, and Antonio Brown for a little bit. I think Antonio. I don't know if you can ever say that Julio is better than Antonio Brown.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is the thing. I think Julio Jones is going to go down.
You pulled a face when I said OBJ.
In that big 3.
Yeah. OBJ is the most talented receiver that I've seen. Randy Moss is. But like OBJ was.
Yeah, so this is the thing with OBJ.
Talented.
I think OBJ coming into the league. Do you know what it is with OBJ? When he came into the league and doing what he done and the whole catch and everything, the flamboyance, the off the field, like, I'm him, great. But because of how it ended and how quick he became from coming from LSU to then being in the league and being one of the best receivers in the league. Yeah, that wasn't back then. That didn't really happen.
No,
when you came into the league, you had to have years of like of a catalogue to be like, okay, you're one of the best receivers. But I think OBJ was the first, not one of the first, but one of the few receivers at that time that just came in and just crashed it.
Yeah.
But now, because I've seen not only 1 but 2 niggas from the exact same school in LSU.
Yeah.
And now I think majority of the receivers coming from college now
are better.
We're
in the golden age of receivers. Like the receivers now, like it's obviously they're throwing the ball more, but these receivers are bro. Like there's 15 top number 1 receivers in the league. I think right now,
like Malik Neighbors right now. What is it? Like, after his first year in New York, fair enough, it's not the same as OBJ's rookie season.
Yeah,
but I think if he stays in New York when it's all said and done, like, we're going to be chatting about Malik Neighbors and OBJ.
Yeah,
and Malik Neighbors.
You know what OBJ did though? That unfortunately Julio Jones couldn't do. At the end of OBJ's career, which is still going on, still playing.
Yeah, he was at Baltimore, but he barely getting receptions. But yeah, he won a chip.
He was at Miami as well. Yeah, but he ring chased and he got a chip. That's what Randy Moss did at the end of his career. That's what the receivers end up doing at the end of their career.
Who did Moss win a chip with?
No, he didn't. He didn't win a chip, but he went to link up with Tom Brady and he just couldn't get it done.
God said nope.
Yeah, God said
you can't do that.
Bro, I can't even believe that happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the David Tyrese for another day. Julio Jones tried the same thing at the end of his career. So after Atlanta, he went to Tennessee. Then he went to Tampa Bay to link up with Tom Brady because he saw the blueprint. He said, "AB's done it. like I've seen OBJ do it. This is the blueprint. I need to go and play with Tom Brady or a world class receiver to go and get a chip." Unfortunately, by 2022, Brady was cooked, and so was Julio Jones. And then his last season in the league was at Philadelphia, and he was done.
Which is crazy to think because, like, again, ring chasing, but
it just didn't work out. And I think, unfortunately for him, that Super Bowl with Atlanta in 2017 will forever be remembered. He made a crazy catch in that game. Remember the one on the sideline?
Yeah.
But they didn't get the job done. And again, it's so harsh because this is a sport that is the epitome of being a team game. It's so symbiotic, but when you haven't got that ring on the resume, it's missing that gloss. And in an era where we're seeing so many receivers that will put up better numbers than him, I think within the pantheon of NFL receivers, he will get forgotten in time. But I was there, and again, we have to be there to see it. He was one of the most dominant receivers I'd seen.
This is the week for you. You just had to be there. Because Julio, bro, like if I'm at the goal line or if I'm in the red zone and I'm just one-on-one and I'm in single coverage or man coverage and Julio, I'm just saying, yeah, boom, it's there. Because Julio's just gonna one-on-one, even double coverage, bro. Like, you have to double him. That was a tight end in a wide receiver's body.
100%.
Like, he was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So he was never, not once, the best receiver in the league.
Yeah.
Because I think he was there during AB's prime. He was there towards the end of Megatron, and you probably just still wasn't having Megatron over him.
Yeah.
But he was up there in the top 3, and I would totally agree.
Yeah.
I mean, he was second, and that's fine. And then that season of Matt Ryan's MVP season, he had a crazy season as well.
Yeah.
So, listen, respect to you, Julio, and you just had to be there. But if you're going to go back and look at the resume and stuff like that,
unfortunately not. But he had a great career. I think you don't get Matty Ice without Julio Jones. I feel like he brought the best out of Matt Ryan, who we weren't too sure about before he had that breakout season in 2017. But yeah, in terms of the overall receivers in NFL history, I just think that he's going to fall down on the list, unfortunately. Tony dropped around all 3 different sports. I haven't talked NFL for a little while, but that's it for this episode, bro. Unless you got anything else to add?
No, man, that's it. We'll be back next week with a brand new season, according to producer Zach. Yeah, there you go. That's what you're waiting for.
Yeah, 10th episode in the bank. Like, it's all about consistency, right? And when we started this, it was like, we know that we can talk ball, both football and NFL and NBA, but it's about just consistency and doing it. Obviously, Zach jumped on board with the editing and the putting the stuff together and being the glue for the RNS podcast. And now we're here, bro. Episode 10. It's been a good run. Got a lot of views. So
it's been a good run.
No, it has been a good run. It's been a good run so far. It's been a good run so far. And long may it continue into season 2. And yeah, we'll catch you, man, next time.
Like and subscribe, niggas.
Like and subscribe, niggas.